Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to OK Weirded. It's your boy, Big T, back at y'all with another one. Once again, thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my viewers. Thank you for the comments. Please, if you're coming across this for the first time, check out my other videos. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on these videos. Big shout out once again to Lone Gunman in the Grassy Knoll. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to Light in the Shadow 31. Thank you. And go check out that page for Light in the Shadow 31 and check out Carolina Crime Files. Thank you guys for viewing my video. Thank you for commenting and thank you for letting me share some of your material that you covered on one of your posts. I appreciate that. Go check that page out too. That's a great page, okay? Now, this story here, I don't know this encounter I had qualifies as paranormal. It's definitely not cryptid, but none say the less, it was spooky. It was a crazy encounter. Now, I told you guys I served in the military. I served both in the Marine Corps and in the Army. I did 4 years in the Marine Corps and I did 10 years in the Army. So when I got out, I decided to become a civilian law enforcement officer, okay? So as a civilian law enforcement officer, I was down in Georgia. I was a fresh boot rookie, straight out the academy, and I was with a FTO, which is a field training officer. It was a sergeant. For this encounter, this story here I'm telling you, we're just going to call him Sarge, as not to put his name out there, okay? Now, one night, we was down in Georgia, of course, where I was a police officer at, small town, close to Florida, a lot of rural area. I was telling Sarge that, I'm kind of into the paranormal because when you're at night, cops talk, we're bored. And he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I told him that I go to cemeteries and I take pictures and see what I can capture. So Sarge was like, oh, you're in luck. We have an old cemetery in town that really nobody uses anymore. And it's back up in the woods. It's down a dirt road. Nobody really uses that cemetery anymore. I don't know because if it's full or anything like that. And he was like, matter of fact, that's one of the places we can go and patrol and check to make sure teenagers ain't hanging out back there doing stuff they're not supposed to do. So you're in luck. Let's go check out that cemetery. So this cemetery, it is really out in the outskirts of town, like out in the city limits. Then you got to turn down this dirt gravelly road. It's kind of more gravel. And you go down this cemetery, okay? You go down this long road to get to the cemetery. Now, it's at night, okay? Mind you, it's probably about 11, 12 at night. It's dark. There are no street lights lining this roadway, and there are no houses. No houses down this road. This road is probably about a quarter of a mile long, maybe to a half a mile. So we're going down this road. There's nothing illuminating this road but our headlights. We was driving a old Crown Victoria. I was driving. My sergeant was sitting in a passenger seat. So as we're going down this dirt road, I'm starting to see up ahead, the lights are hitting what looks like headstones, stuff like that. So we're coming up to this old cemetery. Now, as we're coming to this old cemetery, on my side, my driver's side, as I'm coming up, I'm looking, I see two dogs standing in the wood line, edge of the woods, in the road. Well, not in the road, but on the side of the road, and there's woods behind them, of course. So they're just standing there, and they are pit bulls. They look like pit bulldogs. And we're coming up, and I'm patting. They're just sitting there. Both of them, side by side, are just sitting there, watching us go by. And they're on my side. And I was like, hey, Sergeant, I was like, looks like somebody's dogs got loose. I couldn't tell. I didn't even look to see if they had collars on or not. And he was like, well, that's strange because there's not many houses around here. So I don't know whose dogs that is. We have to check that out later or whatever. Doesn't really matter because we're out kind of near the country. And I actually think we're a little bit past our jurisdiction of the city, but it's right on that line that the county kind of lets the city police patrol that. But nobody really kind of patrols it because, like I said, it's an old cemetery. So now we're getting closer. So we get up to the cemetery and it's dark, okay? And there's the headstones and everything. So we go to a park. It's like you can drive like around, like the cemetery's in the middle, and there's a roadway you like makes a circle and comes back out the same way. So it's like the headstones and all that is sitting in a circle. The road goes around it. The gravel road goes around it. If you kind of get what I mean. So there's one way in, one way out. Okay. So we kind of turn to make that circle, and we go to, I want to stop and I want to get out, and of course I want to take pictures. So I park, and as soon as I go to get out, my sergeant goes, "Hey, hold on, hold on." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Look, standing off to his side where I couldn't see was another pit bull." Now, I thought it was maybe one of the pit bulls that we passed, but I didn't know. I don't remember the pit bull, any of them running past us to get around us to be in front of us. So it had to be a different animal. He's like, "There's another pit bull." I'm not getting out now. Okay. I'm not. I'm like, whoa, okay. So he's like, I don't know where these dogs are coming from. Like we said before, there's no houses back here. So he's like, "Hey, you can get out if you want to, but I wouldn't get out with a pit bull." Now, the pit bull didn't seem like it was being aggressive or anything like that. It wasn't in the road on the circle. It was just kind of like in the cemetery itself by one of the headstones. So at that point, I'm like, damn, I didn't see enough. I'm not getting out with a pit bull. I'm going to snap a couple of photos here from the car and we'll ride out. I snapped a couple of photos. I didn't catch anything in the photos. Needless, or shall I say, I didn't know that trying to catch something on camera paranormal, I was actually about to experience something very, very creepy that I was already experiencing and didn't know it yet. So when I got finished with my pictures from sitting in the car, we go to drive around the circle to get out, and the pit bull is still there. He's by a headstone and he's looking at us as we're rolling out. Now, when you get to the back of the cemetery, you can't see the front anymore because the cemetery it's not big, but it's not small either. So, but you can't see the front. The headstones is dark. You have to go around, and come back out. So go around as we're coming back out. We go now. We got to make because we made a right going in. We got to make. Excuse me. We made a right going in. We got to make another right coming out. Okay, if that makes sense. Just a circle. We go right back out. So we come around that curve to come back out of the cemetery to go out. Now there's a problem. Those two pit bulls that was at the front and the entrance when we came in looked like they turned into a pack because there was a pack of pit bulls. They all look like pit bulls to me. Okay, I couldn't see any other breed. They were different colors, different sizes, but all of them looked like they were ready for action. They were standing there staring at us. Like I always like to say, we looking at them, they looking at us, we looking at each other. Now my sergeant's like, what in the what is going on? I, of course, came to a stop because there's dogs in our pathway. I love dogs. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. I love dogs, especially pit bulls. I've had two of them in my lifetime. Great animals. I have nothing against pit bulls, okay? But just so happens, these were pit bulls. First thing I'm thinking is, did a breeder, leave their pens open, their kennels open, and these dogs got out? Why would they make their way to a cemetery? I have no idea. But my sergeant tells me nobody he knows of, because he grew up in that town. I didn't grow up in that town. He grew up in that town. Nobody he knows breeds pit bulls. Nobody he knows has that many dogs, especially pit bulls, as pets. So now there's a lead dog. I guess there's an alpha. He's standing in front of the car. And he looking at us, lifts his head into the night sky and starts barking, and then all the rest of them starts barking. And I say this one's the lead because, like I said, he was the one standing directly in front of our car. The rest of them was kind of spread out around him, behind him. When he started barking, the rest of them started barking, and all heck broke loose. These dogs charged at our car, Old Crown Victoria, and they started biting, scratching, jumping up on the windows. Luckily, we had our windows up. These dogs was going at it. chewing, biting, scratching. My sergeant tells us we got to go, start creeping forward. If you hit one, you hit one. I mean, who wants to actually run over a dog? But then again, we got to get out of there. So I'm creeping forward. They're kind of parting, but as they're parting, making a space for us, so we won't run them over. They're all over the place. They're up. One is attached to my driver's side mirror. He's biting it, tearing that thing apart. These dogs are going ham, as they like to say, on this patrol car. My sergeant grabs his pepper spray. He cracks the window. He starts spraying. Now he's spraying. It does not matter to these dogs. And then he proceeds to tell me, hey, look, even if the tires burst, we're going to roll on the rims. We're going to keep rolling till this car won't roll anymore. Because I know what you're thinking. Well, you guys are police officers. You got guns. You can just start shooting. First of all, we're not cowboys. We're not going to roll the window down and just start shooting. You know, you have to crack it anyway, because if you put your arm out the window too much, it might get latched onto. Second, okay, way too many dogs. I mean, I'm at least counting at least 12, 15 to 16 dogs. I lost count. They was everywhere. You can't get them all at once. They're going to overrun you. That's why he told me, even if this car, the tires bust on this car, because they was definitely snipping and biting at the tires. And I think I did run a couple of them over. In fact, I kind of know I did. I heard a crunch one time, or at least twice. That's why he said, even if this car comes to the tires bust on this car, do not come to a stop. Gas it. We are going to roll on the rims till this car can't roll anymore. So like I said, they're going at it on this car. They're tearing it apart. Finally, as I'm going down this gravel road, trying to get out of there, going slow, and they're tearing at the car, they finally kind of all moved from the car to let us go. No, none of them was around the car again. My sergeant says, gun it, let's get out of here. Our tires felt like they were still good. I pressed the gas. We're getting out of there. I'm looking in the rearview mirror. They're all standing in the roadway, in the dirt road, barking, yapping, just looking at us. Then they just stopped barking again and they started staring at us. Just staring, all of them. In the road, in front of the cemetery, staring. We get up out of there. We get back to the main road and we head back to the station. And my sergeant's just there in stunned silence. Now, mind you, a little bit of his pepper spray, OC spray, but we'll just say pepper spray because that's what a lot of civilian people know it as, got into the car. So I'm going to tell you that. We was kind of coughing, and it sprayed back on us, okay, because he had to kind of just crack the window to spray it. So it came back on us. So we was coughing pretty good, eyes burning. That's why I couldn't just haul Boogie up out of there, because I really couldn't see too well. My eyes were sort of starting to burn, but I could see them dogs in the rearview mirror looking back at us. I no longer had a side mirror. That was gone. One of them had that for dinner. Okay. So we get down a good ways till we get to civilization again. A sergeant tells us, hey, pull over at this gas station. We pull over at the gas station. We both get out. Before we could even check the car, we had to go into the bathroom and flush our eyes with water. Okay. Well, actually, I think my sergeant grabbed milk and he used milk. I don't like milk. I don't care. I'm going to use water, which I probably should have used the milk because that pepper spray burned pretty bad. It took a while, okay? So finally, we kind of get ourselves together at the store. The store clerk looking at us when we came in like, what in the world happened to these guys? And I know she's probably thinking, well, they must have been doing some serious police work. They got sprayed by OC spray. They were doing their job. No, we was trying to get away from dogs. All right. So we get ourselves together. We get back out to the parking lot. By then, my sergeant had radioed for a couple of other units that was on patrol, a couple of other police officers working that night. Small town, so there was only a few other cops working. They come to the gas station so we can tell them what just happened. Looking at the patrol car, it's a mess. It's a mess. You know how most police cars, most police departments, they don't paint their cars, they wrap them. That big logo on the side that says such and such town or whatever, and then the bottom says police. So, such and such town at the top, the bottom says police. That's a wrap, a sticker, a wrap, whatever. Scratched all the heck, just tore up. chew marks all in the frame of the car, the bottom part, the tires. I do not know how the tires kept from being punctured. You can tell they was being used as a chew toy. And anybody know anything about pit bulls? They have strong jaws. I don't know what a bite pounds per square inch. I didn't go to math school, so I'm not, a mathematician. So you could tell this car has been torn up. Them dogs went at it. So the other police officers get there and they're like, "What happened to your car?" That's the first thing they see. You get in an accident? What happened? My sergeant goes to tell them exactly what happened, explain. Of course, a couple of other cops wanted to be gun ho. Well, let's go back there and go and do what? Y'all car gonna get attacked too. We're not gonna get out here and have a battle royale with these dogs, and we're not gonna start just blasting away. That's not what we do. That's not what police officers do. Okay? So no, we didn't go back. We're gonna tell animal control. Our department did have an animal control. So animal control, of course, we're working night shift. Animal control didn't come in till like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock that next morning. We got off like 6, 7 o'clock that morning. We just spread the word to the day shift officers, my sergeant did, to let them know, to let animal control know what we saw, where, so they can go out and they can handle that. I think animal control only had 1 or 2 officers. Good luck with that. I don't know how y'all gonna get all them dogs. Those are a lot of dogs. Okay. We get back to work that night. Animal control is still on. He's still there. So me and my sergeant walk up to him and ask him, "Hey, what happened? Did you get those dogs that was out there?" And he's like, "I didn't see any dogs." What do you mean? He's like, he went out there that morning. As soon as he got word, he went back to that cemetery. Not one dog around. He said he didn't see not one dog. Blew the horn, tried to see if they was in the woods, hiding, anything he could do to bait them. No dogs. None. Didn't find any dogs. Said he went him out there later that day maybe to see. No dogs. Before he got off shift, before we came on shift, he waited for us to get there. But before he left shift, he went out there again. So he went out there a total of like 3 times. No dogs around. He said he didn't see any dogs. But he does know something happened because him and the chief, the lieutenant, and all of them seen that car. That patrol car was destroyed. We actually had to get, another patrol car for that night because that one went into the shop. It was destroyed. Okay. So we don't know what happened. Of course, I wanted to go back out there. My sergeant was like, "No, we're not going back to that cemetery anytime soon." Even even the day shift units, they went out there. They accompanied the animal control officer, of course, because it was one guy on duty, one animal control officer. So he went back there with a couple of police officers follow him back there because we told him it had to been, up team dogs, and they were all pit bulls. So of course they accompanied him, but nobody saw any dogs. They didn't see those dogs. Now, I don't know if this was paranormal or anything. I don't know if those dogs were, what they call hellhounds. I know hellhound is a totally different thing. I do know that. But what I'm saying is I don't know where these dogs came from. Nobody we know of had any amount of these pit bulls like that. So I don't know if they was protecting the guardians of the cemetery. I don't know. I do know one thing. My sergeant told me. He said he's been back to that cemetery countless times throughout his life. Like I said, he was born and raised in that town, and he's experienced nothing like that. But as soon as I come along and start telling him about am interested in paranormal things. I have paranormal encounters. I like going to cemeteries. Boom, something like this happened. So needless to say, he was like, "Don't tell me anything else about paranormal, about cryptids, anything like that." None of this transpired until you got here. So did I bring it? Was I a magnet for it? I don't know. But I never experienced anything like that. And like I said before, I love dogs. I love animals. I especially like pit bulls. I've had a couple of them. So this is no knock against pit bulls. They are very sweet, very kind dogs. I had them around my kids when they were smaller. I do not know why this particular group of dogs were aggressive like this, and they just happened to be pit bulls, but they were aggressive that night. Creeped me out, freaked me out. Okay. If anybody know about that cemetery I'm talking about, because I'm not gonna say the name of the town, because I don't want a whole bunch of people flooding it trying to go to that cemetery. Not saying you will, but I'm just saying it was crazy. But man, if anybody ever has an encounter like that, I should say, with strange dogs like that, whether it's pit bulls or just dogs in general, let me know in the comments, because I can't figure out to this day why all those dogs was out there like that and why they decided to attack our patrol car. But I was not allowed to get out of that car and take pictures because I guess that third pit bull that we saw was like, don't get out that car. And I'm guessing the first two was kind of looking at us like, what are y'all doing here? What are y'all doing here? Nah, we're gonna hide that. And that's when the third one was like, oh, nah, you ain't getting out the car. So they gave us a little parting present by attacking our patrol car and letting us know we was definitely not welcome back there, at least that night. Now, has my sergeant been back to that cemetery since? I don't think he's been back there since I've been with that department. I wound up leaving that department, about maybe a year later, getting with another department. So I don't know if he's been back there since. I got him on social media, so he ain't said nothing about it. He ain't reached out to me about it, so to let me know, has he seen those dogs since? But I can tell you, since I've been there, Animal Control did make periodic checks on that cemetery. Even coming on shift one night, we wasn't working that night. He even came out at night, went down there to see if he could see if those dogs were back there. They wasn't there. Of course, our story spread like wildfire throughout the department. So every shift was always somebody going back there, whether it's day, whether it's night, to see if those dogs was back there. Me and my sergeant, well, we never went back there. Even when I got out on my own, I kind of wanted to go back there and check. But no, being by myself, being my luck, they would have burst my tires and the car would have just came to a stop. And I'd just had to sit there all night, pretty much probably crying to myself, trying to radio another unit to come help me. Okay, so I never went back there either. My sergeant never went back there, but other officers said they went back there and there was no dogs. So hopefully they had to believe our story that we got attacked by dogs because the car was a mess. You could tell something attacked the car. But anyway, guys, that's my story about pit bulls in the cemetery. All right, appreciate you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. You got a story, let me know. Okay, put it in the comment section. My email is okweirded, ed at the end of weird, so okweirded@gmail.com. Hit me up. All right, let me know what you think, guys. Until the next time, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.